Ismene, sister of my blood and heart, seest thou how Zeus would in our lives fulfill the curse of Oedipus, a world of woes? For what of pain, affliction, outrage, shame is lacking in our lives, thine and mine? And now this proclamation of today, made by our Captain General to the state, what could its purport be? Didst hear and heed, or art thou deaf when friends are banned as foes?
To me, Antigone, no word of friends has come, or glad or grievous, since we twain were reft of our two brethren in one day by double fratricide. And since the Argive host this now past night is vanished, I know not beside to make me nearer to happiness, or more in woe.
I know 'twas so, and therefore led thee beyond the gates that thou alone mightst hear.
Speak on. Thy troubled look bodes some dark news.
What but the thought of our two brothers dead? The one by Creon graced with funeral rites, the other disappointed? Eteocles, they tell, with lawful consecration he lays out, and after covers him in earth adorned, so gracing him among the dead below. But Polynices, miserably slain, they say 'tis publicly proclaimed that no man may bury him or make lament. Must leave him tombless and unwept, a feast of sweet provision for the carrion fowl that eye him greedily. Such is the edict, if report speak true, of Creon, our most noble Creon, aimed at thee and me, aye, me too. And anon he will be here to promulgate for such as have not heard his mandate. 'Tis in sooth no passing humor, for the edict says where transgressors shall be stoned to death. So stands it with us. Now 'tis thine to show if thou art worthy of thy blood or base.
Unhappy one! But what can I herein avail to do or undo?
Wilt thou share the danger and the labor? Make thy choice.
Of what wild enterprise? What canst thou mean?
Wilt thou join hand with mine to lift the dead?
To bury him when all have been forbidden, is that thy thought?
My brother, though thou deny him thine. No man shall say that I betrayed a brother.
Wilt thou persist, though Creon has forbid?
What right has he to keep me from my own?
Bethink thee, sister, of our father's fate. Abhorred, dishonored, self-convinced of sin, blinded, himself his executioner. Think of his mother wife, ill-sorted names done by a noose herself entwines to death. And last, our hapless brethren in one day, both in a mutual destiny involved, self-slaughtered. Both the slayer and the slain. Bethink thee, sister. We are left alone. Shall we not perish, wretchedest of all, if, in defiance of authority, we traverse the commandment of the king? We are but women, not framed by nature to contend with men. Remember this too, that the stronger rules. We must obey his orders, these or worse. I then, imploring those beneath to grant indulgence, seeing I am enforced in this, will yield submission to the powers that rule. Small wisdom were to overpass the bound.
I urge no more. Nay, wert thou willing still, I would not welcome such a fellowship. Be what thou choose to be. This single hand shall bury our lost brother. Glorious for me to take this labor and to die. Dear to him will my soul be as we rest in death, when I have dared this holy crime. But by the dead commended, and with them, I shall abide forever. As for thee, scorn if thou wilt the eternal laws of heaven.
I scorn them not, but to defy the state or break her ordinance, I have no skill.
Thou make excuses. I shall go to raise a burial mound to our dear brother.
My poor fond sister, how I fear for thee!
Oh, waste no fears on me, look to thyself.
At least let no man know of thine intent. Keep it close and secret, as will I.
Oh, tell it, sister, I shall hate thee more if thou proclaim it not to all the town.
Thou hast a fiery soul for numbing work.
I know my duty where true duty lies.
Thou succeed, but thou art doomed to fail.
When strength shall fail me, yes, but not before.
But if the venture's hopeless, why essay?
Sister, forbear, or I shall hate thee soon. And the dead man will hate thee too with cause. Say I am mad, and give my madness rein to wreck itself. The worst that can befall is but to die an honorable death.
Go, if you must. Not to be checked in folly, but sure unparalleled in faithful love.
Sunbeam of all to Thebes, the brightest ray.
O eye of golden day, how fair thy light o'er Dirce's fountain shone, speeding along their headlong homeward course, far quicker than they came, the Argive force, putting to flight
the argent shields, the host with scutcheons white. Against our land the proud invader came to vindicate fell Polynices' claim.
Like an eagle swooping low, on pinions white as new-fallen snow.
With clanging scream, a horsetail plume his crest, the aspiring lord of Argos onward pressed.
Hovering around our city walls he waits, his spearmen raven at our 7 gates.
But ere a torch our crown of towers can burn, ere they had tasted of our blood, they turn, forced by the dragon.
In their rear, the din of Ares panic-struck they hear.
For Zeus, who hates the braggart's boast, beheld that gold-bespangled host.
For at the goal the Paeans they upraised, he struck them with his forked lightning blades.
To earth from earth rebounding down he crashed. The firebrand from his impious hand was dashed.
As like a Bacchic reveler,
On he came, outbreathing hate.
And flayed and tottered.
Elsewhere in the field, here, there,
Great Ares like a war horse wheeled.
beneath his cart down thrust, our foemen bit the dust.
7 captains at our 7 gates. Thunder!
for each a champion waits.
Each left behind his armor bright, trophy for Zeus, who turns the fight.
Save 2 alone, that ill-starred pair,
One mother to one father bear.
who lance and rest, one 'gainst the other drave.
Both perished.
Brother, slain by brother.
But with blithe greetings of mad Thebe came she of the glorious name,
Victory!
Smiling on a chariot throng with eyes that waken song.
Then let those battle memories cease, silenced by thoughts of peace.
with holy dances of delight, lasting through the livelong night.
Visit we every shrine and solemn round, led by him who shakes the ground.
Our Bacchus, Thebes, child of light!
But look, where Creon in his new-made power, moved by the fortune of the recent hour, comes with fresh counsel. That intelligence intends he for our private conference, that he hath sent his herald to us all, gathering the elders with a general call.
My friends, the noble vessel of our state, after sore shaking her, the gods have sped on a smooth course once more. I have called you hither by a special messenger, selecting you from all the city. First, because I knew you. I, loyal to the throne of Laius. Then both while Oedipus gave prosperous days, and since his fall, I still held you firm in sound allegiance to the royal issue. Now since the pair have perished in an hour, twinned in misfortune by a mutual stroke, staining our land with fratricide of blood, a right of kinship to the princes dead, I claim and hold the throne in sovereignty. Yet, 'tis no easy matter to discern the temper of a man, his mind and will, till he be proved by exercise of power. The power shows the man. For he who, when supreme, withholds his hand or voice from the best cause, being thwarted by some fear, that man to me appears, even hath appeared most vile. He too hath no high place in mine esteem, who sets his friend before his fatherland. For my citizens look for safety, nor did I make him who doth not love my country my friend. For I know our country carries us, and whilst through helm is held aright, we gain good friends and true. Such is the policy by which I seek to serve the commons, and conformably I proclaimed an edict as concerns the sons of Oedipus. Eteocles, who in his country's battle fought and fell the foremost champion, duly bury him, with all observances and ceremonies that honor the noble heroic dead. But for the miscreant exile who returned minded in flames and ashes to blot out his father's cities and his father's God, and glut his vengeance with his kinsman's blood, or drag them captive at his chariot's wheels. For Polynices 'tis ordained that none should give him burial or make mourn for him, but to leave his corpse unburied, to be meat for dogs and carrion crows, a sight of shame. Such are the motions of this mind and will. Never from me shall villains reap renown before the just, but whoso loves the state, I will exalt him both in life and death.
Son of Benicius, we have heard thy mind toward him who loves and him who hates our city. And short is thine to enforce what law thou wilt, both on the dead and on us who live.
Then be watchful to maintain my word.
On younger shoulders lay this grievous charge.
Already there be watchers of the dead,
What charge then must thou further lay on us?
not to give place to those that disobey.
No man is mad enough to court his death.
The penalty is death! Yet hope of gain hath lured men to their ruin oftentimes.
My lord, I will not make pretense to pant and puff as some light-footed messenger. In sooth, my soul beneath its pack of thought made many a halt, and turned again. For conscience plied her spurs, and curbed my turns. Why hurry headlong to thy fate, poor fool, she whispered. And then again, if Creon learn this from another, thou wilt rue it worse. Thus, leisurely I hastened on my road. Much thought extends a furlong to a league. But in the end, the forward voice prevailed to face thee. I will speak, though I say nothing. For plucking courage from despair, methought, let the worst hap, thou canst but meet thy fate.
What is thy news? Why this despondency?
First of mine own part in the business, for I did it not, nor know the man who did, and 'twere not right that I should come to harm.
Thou art good at parry, and canst fence about some matter of grave import, as is plain.
A man will shrink who carries words of fear.
Then, sirrah, shoot thy bolt and get thee gone.
Well, it must out. The corpse is buried. Someone, e'en now, besprinkled it with dampened earth, performed the proper ritual, and was gone.
What sayest thou? Who had dared to do this thing?
I cannot tell. There was no mark to show, no dint of spade or mattock loosened sod, only hard, bare ground, untilled and trackless. Whoe'er he was, the doer left no trace, no sign that human hands had been at work. And when the scout of our first daylight watch showed us this thing, we marveled in dismay. The prince had vanished, not interred in earth, but strewn with dust, as if by one who sought to avert the curse that haunts the unburied dead. Of hound or ravening jackal, not a sign. Then rose high words among us sentinels, with bickering noise, accusing each his mate. It seemed like to come to blows, with none to hinder, for the hand that thus had wrought was any of ours, and none. The guilty man escaped all knowledge. We were prepared to lift hot iron with our bare palms, to walk through fire, and swear by all the gods at once that we were guiltless, aye, and ignorant of who had plotted to perform this thing. At last, when further search seemed bootless, at last one spake, whose very words bowed our heads to the earth with fear. We knew not what to answer him, nor how to do it and prosper. He advised that so grave a matter should not be concealed, but instantly reported to the king. Well, this prevailed, and the lot fell on me, unlucky man, to be the ministrant of this fair service. And so I am present here against my will and yours, I am certain of that. None love the bringer of unwelcome news.
I had misgivings from the first, my liege, of something more than natural at work.
Cease! And thou quite enraged me, and pure foolish as thou art old. Talk not to me of gods who have taken thought for this dead man. Did they forsooth the ward with special grace and as some factor bury him? Who came to fire their hallowed sanctuaries, to sack their shrines, and desolate their land and scalp their ordinances? Or, perchance, hast thou seen them honoring villainy? No. I have long noted these malcontents, who wagged their heads and kicked against the yoke, misliking these, my orders and my rule. Well know I, these have bribed the watchmen to do this here for some fee. For naught hath grown current among mankind so mischievous as money. This brings cities to their fall, this drives men homeless, and moves honest minds to base contrivance. This hath taught mankind the use of wickedness, and how to give an impious turn to every kind of act. But whosoe'er have done this for reward will find themselves at great length to punishment. If Zeus have still my worship, be assured of that, which here on oath I say to thee. Unless ye find the man that made this grave, and bring him bodily before mine eye, death for your punishment shall not suffice. Hang hanged on a cross alive, ye first shall make confession of this outrage. This will teach you what practices are like to serve your turn. There are some villainies that bring no gain, for by dishonesty the few may thrive, the many come to ruin and disgrace.
May I not speak, or must I turn and go without a word?
Be gone! Canst thou not see that e'en this question irks me?
Where, my lord? Is it thy ear that suffers, or thy heart?
Why seek to probe and find the seat of pain?
If I offend, 'tis in your ear alone. The malefactor wounds ye to the soul.
What an inveterate babbler! Get thee gone!
Babbler perchance, but innocent of the crime.
Twice guilty of having sold thy soul for gain!
Alas, how sad when reasoners reason wrong.
Go, quibble with thy reason. If thou failest to fight these malefactors, thou shalt own the wages of ill-gotten gains is death.
By all means, let the man be found. One thing I know right well, caught or not caught, howe'er fate rules his fortune, me you ne'er will see standing in presence here. Even now, I owe deep thanks to heaven for mine escape, so far beyond my hope and highest expectancy.
Many wonders there be, but not more wondrous than man.
Over the surging sea,
And with the whitening wind ran.
through the foam of the firth,
Man makes his perilous way.
and the eldest of deities, earth, that knows not toil nor decay.
Ever he furrows and scores as his team year in, year out, with breed of the yoked horse, the plowshare turned about.
The light-witted birds of the air, the beasts of weald and wood, he traps them in his woven snare, and the brood of the briny flood.
Master of cunning, he,
The savage bull
and the hart who roams the mountain free.
are tamed by his infinite art, and the shaggy and rough-made steed is broken to bear the bit.
Speech, and the windswift speed of counsel and civic wit. He hath learnt for himself all these.
And the airy rein to fly, and the nipping airs that freeze neath the open winter sky, he hath provision for all.
Fell plague he hath learnt to endure, safe whate'er may befall.
Yet for death he hath found no cure.
Passing wildest flight thoughts are the cunning and skill that guide man now to the light, but now to counsels of ill.
If he honors the law of the land and reveres the god of the state, proudly his city shall stand.
But a citiless outcast I rate, who so bold in his pride from the path of right doth depart.
Near may I sit by his side, or share the thought of his heart.
What portent from the gods is here? My mind is mazed with doubt and fear. How can I gainsay what I see? I know the girl Antigone, O hapless child of hapless sire. Wouldst thou then recklessly aspire to brave king's loss, and now art brought in madness of transgression caught?
Here's the doer of this deed, this maid. We found her burying him. Where's the king?
There from the palace he returns in time.
Why is my presence timely? What has chanced?
My lord, no man should make a vow, for if he ever swears he will not do a thing, his afterthoughts belie his first resolve. When from the hailstorm of thy threats I fled, I swore thou wouldst not see me here again. But the wild rapture of a glad surprise intoxicates, and so I'm here forsworn. And here's my prisoner, caught in the very act, decking the grave. No lottery this time. This prize is mine by right of treasure trove. So take her, judge her, rack her if thou wilt. She's thine, my liege. But I may rightly claim hence to depart well quit of all these ills.
Say, how dost thou arrest the maid and where?
Burying the man, there's nothing more to tell.
Hast thou thy wits, or knowest what thou sayest?
I saw this woman burying the corpse against thy orders. Is that clear and plain?
But how was she surprised and caught in the act?
It happened thus. No sooner had we come, driven from thy presence by those awful threats, than straight we swept away any trace of dust and bared the clammy body. Then we sat high on the ridge, to windward of the stench, while each man kept he fellow alert and rated roundly the sluggard if he chanced to nap. So all night long we watched, until the sun stood high in the heavens, and his blazing beams smote us. A sudden whirlwind then upraised, a cloud of rain that blotted out the sky and swept the plains and stripped the woodlands bare and shook the firmament. We closed our eyes and waited till this heaven-sent plague should pass. At last it ceased, and lo, there stood this maid. A piercing cry she uttered, sad and shrill, as when a mother bird beholds her nest robbed of its nestlings. Even so this maid wailed as she saw the body stripped and bare, and cursed the ruffians that had done this deed. Then, nimbly with her hands, she brought wet earth, and holding high a well-wrought brazen urn, poured 3 libations honoring the dead. We at the sight swooped down on her and seized our cord. Undismayed she stood, and when we charged her with the former crime in this, she disowned nothing. I was glad and grieved. Oneself to escape disaster is great joy, but to have drawn a friend into distress is grievous. Take it all in all, I deem a man's first duty is to serve himself.
Now, with thine eyes downcast to the earth, dost thou plead guilty or deny the deed?
Guilty. I did it, I deny it not.
Sirrah, be gone whither thou wilt, and thank thy luck that thou hast escaped the heavy charge. Now answer this plain question, yes or no. Knewest thou our edict that forbade this thing?
I knew. All knew. How should I fail to know?
And yet wert bold enough to break the law.
Yea, for these laws were not ordained of Zeus. And she who sits enthroned with gods below justice enacted not these human laws. Nor did I deem that thou, a mortal man, couldst by a breath annul and override the immutable unwritten laws of heaven. Not now or yesterday they have their being, but everlastingly, and none can tell the hour that saw their birth. I would not, for any terror of a man's resolve, incur the God-inflicted penalty of doing them wrong. But death would come, I knew, without thine edict. And before the time I count it gain. Who does not gain by death, who lives as I do amid boundless woe. But had I suffered my own mother's son, fallen in blood to be without a grave, that were indeed a sorrow. This is none. If thou deemst me foolish for my deed, I am foolish in the judgment of a fool.
A stubborn daughter of a stubborn sire, who knows not how to bend before troubles.
Let her know. The stubbornness of wills are soonest bended, as the hardest iron o'erheated in the fire to brittleness, flies soonest and to fragment shivered through. The smallest bit curbs the most fiery steed. Indeed, believe pride may not be endured in one whose life is subject to command. But this proud girl, in insolence well schooled, first overstepped the established law, and now behold, she adds to this crime, this insolence. She boasts in her offense and glories in it. Now she thus can flout authority, unpunished, I the woman, she the man. But though she be my sister's child, or nearer of kin than all who worship at my heart, nor she, nor yet her sister shall escape the utmost penalty for both I hold, as arch conspirators of equal guilt. Bring forth the older. Even now I saw her within the house beyond herself and frantic. Full often one is darkly scheming wrong. The disturbed spirit betrayed itself before the act it hides. But not less hateful seems it to me. And one that hath been caught in wickedness would give it a brave show.
Wouldst thou want more of me than merely death?
Not I. Thy life is mine, and that's enough.
Why then delay? No talk of thine can charm me, forbid it heaven. And my discourse no less, must evermore sound noisome to thine ear. Yet where could I have found a fairer fame than giving burial to my own true brother? All here will tell thee that they approved my deed. Were they not tongue-tied to authority? But kingship hath much profit. This in chief, that it may do and say whate'er it will.
All these Thebans, none so deems but thou.
They seem but curb their voices to thy sway.
Hast thou no shame to differ from all these?
To reverence, kith and kin can bring no shame.
Does not T.T. please thy brother too?
My own true brother of both parents' blood.
This duty was impiety to him.
He that is dead will not confirm that word.
Surely if good and evil fare alive.
The slain man was no villain, but a brother.
Put laid waste to the land for which he fought.
Deathless the realms below these rights require.
Not that the base should fare as do the brave.
Who knows if this world's crimes or virtues there?
An enemy is hated even in death.
Love, and not hatred, is the
damn it to death! And if you must, there lump the dead. No woman rules me while I live!
Lo, from out the palace gate, weeping o'er her sister's fate, comes Ismene. See her brow, once serene, beclouded now. See her beauteous face o'erspread with a flush of angry red.
And thou, that like a serpent coiled ill the house, has secretly been draining my lifeblood. Little aware that I was cherishing two curses and subverters of my throne. Tell us, wilt thou avouch in thy share in this entombment, or forswear all knowledge of it?
I did the deed, if she will have it so, and with my sister claim to share the guilt.
Nay, justice will not suffer that. You would not, and I refuse to make you mine ally.
But now my bark is stranded. I am bold to claim my share as partner in the loss.
Who did the deed the underworld knows well. A friend in word is never friend of mine.
Oh, sister, scorn me not. Let me but share thy work of piety, and with thee die.
Claim not a work in which thou hadst no hand. One doth sufficeth. Wherefore shouldst thou die?
What would life profit me, bereft of thee?
Ask Creon, he's thy kinsman and best friend.
Why taunt me? Findest thou pleasure in these jibes?
My heart is pained, though my lip laughs at thee.
What can I do for thee now, even now?
Save your own life. I grudge not your escape.
Alas, and must I be debarred thy fate?
Life was the choice you made, mine was to die.
I warned thee!
Yes, your prudence is admired on earth. My piety is approved of below.
Then truly we are both alike in fault.
Fear not, you live. My life hath long been given to death, to be of service to the dead.
Both maids, methink, are crazed. One suddenly has lost her wits, the other was born mad.
My lord, in misery the mind one hath is wont to be dislodged and will not stay.
In faith I would forsook thee when thou made thy choice with evildoers to do ill.
What life for me without my sister here?
Say not thy sister here. Thy sister's dead.
What? Wilt thou slay thy own son's plighted bride?
Aye. Fields of others are fit for the plow.
No new espousal can be like the old.
A plague on trolls who court and woo our sons.
Oh, dearest Haemon, how thy father wrongs thee.
Thou and thy marriage are torment to me.
What? Wilt thou rob thine own son of his bride?
'Tis death that bars this marriage, not his sire.
All doubt is then resolved.
The
The maid must die.
I am resolved. And so 'twould seem are you. Guard, keep them close. Henceforth let them learn to live as women's use, not roam at large. For even the bravest spirits run away when they perceive death pressing on life's heels.
Blessed is the life that never tasted woe, when once the blow hath fallen upon a house with heaven-sent doom. Trouble descends in ever-widening gloom. Through all the number of the tribe to flow, as when the briny surge that thrice-born tempest urge, the big wave ever gathering more and more, rolls o'er the darkness of the deep, and with far-searching sweep uprolls the storm-heaped tangle on the shore, while cliff to beaten cliff resounds with sullen roar.
The stock of Cadmus from old time I know hath woe on woe, age following age, the living on the dead, fresh sorrow falling from each new risen head, none freed by God by ruthless overthrow. E'en now a smiling light was spreading to our sight, or one last blasted fiber of tree, when lo, the dust of cruel death, tribute to the gods beneath. And wild-green thoughts and fates-born ecstasy quench the brief gleam and darken on entity.
What forward will of man, O Zeus, can check thy might? Not all enfeebling sleep, nor tireless months divine, can touch thee, who through ageless time rulest mightily Olympus' dazzling height.
This was in the beginning, and shall be, now and eternally.
Not here or there, but everywhere. A law of misery that shall not spare.
For hope that wanders wide, comforting many ahead, and tangleth many more with glamour of desire. Unknowing they have trod the fire.
Wise is the famous word of one who said,
Evil oft seemeth goodness, to the mind an angry God doth blind.
few are the days that such as he may live untroubled of calamity.
Lo, Haemon, thy last offspring now is come, lamenting haply for the maiden's doom.
Say, is he mourning o'er her young life lost, fiercely indignant for his bridal crossed?
We shall know soon, better than seers could teach us. Can it be so, my son, that thou art brought by mad distempture against thy sire, on hearing of the irrevocable doom passed on thy promised bride? Or is thy love thy father's, be his actions what they may?
I am thine, father, and will follow still thy good directions. Nor would I prefer the fairest bride to thy wise government.
That, O my son, should be thy constant mind, and all to bend thee to a father's will. Therefore men pray to have around their hearths obedient offspring, to requite their foes with harm, and honor whom their father loves. But he, whose issue proves unprofitable, begets what else but sorrow to himself and store of laughter for his enemies. Make not, my son, a shipwreck of thy wit for a woman. Thine own heart may teach thee this. There's but cold comfort in a wicked wife yoked to the home inseparably. What wound can be more deadly than that of a harmful friend? Then spurn her like an enemy and send her to wed some shadow in the world below. For since I caught her openly rebelling of all my subjects, the one malcontent, I will not prove a traitor to the state. She surely dies. Go, let her if she will appeal to Zeus, the god of kindred. For if thus I nurse rebellion in my house, shall not I foster mutiny without. For he who so rules his household worthily will prove in civic matters no less wise. But he who overbears the laws or thinks to overrule his rulers, such as one I never will allow. Whome'er the state appoints must be obeyed in everything. But small and great, just and unjust alike, I warrant such a one in either case would shine as king or subject. Such a man would in the storm of battle stand his ground, a comrade leal and true. But anarchy! What evils are not wrought by anarchy? She ruins the states and overthrows the home. She dissipates and routs the embattled host, while discipline preserves the ordered ranks. Therefore, we must maintain authority, to yield to title through woman's will. Better, if needs be, that men should cast us out, than hear it said, a woman proved his match.
To me, unless old age have dulled wits, thy words appear both reasonable and wise.
Father, the gods implant, and mortal men reason, the choicest gift bestowed by heaven. 'Tis not for me to say thou errest, nor would I reign thy wisdom, if I could. And yet, wise thoughts may come to other men, and, as thy son, it falls to me to mark the acts, the words, the comments of the crowd. The commons stand in terror of thy frown, and dare not utter aught that might offend. But I can overhear their muttered plaints, know how they mourn the maiden doomed. For noblest of deeds, to die the worst of death, when her own brother, slain in battle lay, unsepulchred, she suffered not his corpse to lie for carrion birds and dogs to maul. Should not her name, they cry, be written gold? Such the low murmurings that reach my ear. Now, in my valuing of thy prosperous life, my father, no possessions can compare. Where can be found a richer ornament for children than their father's high renown? Or where for fathers than their children's fame? Therefore, my father, cling not to one mood, and deem not thou art right, all others wrong. Whoe'er presume that he alone hath sense, or peerless eloquence, or reach of soul, unwrap him, and you will find but emptiness. 'Tis no disgrace for even the wise to learn and lend an ear to reason. You may see, the plant that yields where toward waters flow, saves every twig when the stout tree is torn away and dies. Or the mariner, who will never slack the sheets that sway the vessel, but still tightens, oversets, and so, keel upward, ends his voyaging. Relent, I pray thee, and give place to change. For if any judgment hath informed my youth, I grant it noblest to be always wise. But for omniscience is denied to men, 'tis good to hearken to admonishment.
My lord, 'twere wise if thou wouldst learn of him in reason, and Haemon from thy sire. Truth lies between you.
Shall our age forsooth be taught discretion by a peevish boy?
I plead for justice, father, nothing more. Weigh me upon my merit, not my years.
Strange merit this to sanction lawlessness.
For evildoers I would urge no plea.
Is not this maid an errant's lawbreaker?
The Theban commons with one voice say no.
What? Shall the mob dictate my policy?
'Tis thou, methinks, who speakest like a boy.
Shall others then prescribe my government?
One alone makes not up a city, father.
Is not the city in the sovereign's hand?
As monarch of a desert thou wouldst shine.
This boy, methinks, maintains the woman's cause.
You are the woman then. For you I care.
Villain! Demand your reasons with your sire.
I plead against the unreason of your fault.
What fault is there in reverencing my power?
There is no reverence when you spurn the gods.
Hearts corrupt, the woman's minion thou!
A slave to dishonor, thou wilt never find me.
Thy speech at least was all a plea for her!
And thee, and me, and the gods below.
She will not live to be your wife on earth!
Then I know whom she will ruin by her death.
What? Wilt thou threaten too, thou audacious boy?
'Tis no threat to answer empty words.
Witness admonisher, thou shalt pay for this!
Were it not my father, I'd call thee senseless.
Flatter me not with father, you woman slave!
When thou dost speak, must no man make reply?
This passes bounds. By heaven, thou shalt not rate and jeer and flatter me with impunity. To off with the hateful thing that she may die at once, beside her bridegroom in his sight.
Think not that in my sight the maid shall die, or by my side. Never shalt thou again behold my face hereafter. Go, consort with friends who like a madman for a mate.
My lord, he's parted swiftly in deep wrath.
The youthful spirit offended makes wild work.
Aye, let him do his worst. Let him give scope to pride beyond the compass of a man. He shall not free these maidens from their doom.
Is death thy destination for them both?
Thou sayest well. Only her whose hands touch the body.
And what death is she to die?
She shall be taken to some desert place by man untried, and thrown in a rock-hewn cave, with food no more than to avoid the stain that homicide might bring on all the state. Buried alive. There, let her call in aid to the king of death, the one God she reveres. Or learnt too late the lesson learnt at last. 'Tis labor lost to reverence the dead.
Love, resistless in fight, I'll yield at a glance of thine eye.
Love, who pillowed all nights on a maiden's cheek, dost fly over the upland holds.
Shall mortals not yield to thee?
Mad are thy subjects all, and even the wisest heart straight to folly will fall at a touch of thy poisoned dart.
Thou didst kindle the strife, this feud of kinsmen with kin, the eyes of a winsome wife, and the yearning her heart to win.
For as her consort still enthroned with justice above,
Thou bendest man to thy will.
O all invincible love!
Lo, I myself am borne aside from justice as I view this bride. O sight and eye and tears to drown. Antigone so young, so fair, thus hurried down death's bower with the dead to share.
Friends, countrymen, my last farewell I make. My journey's done. One last fond, lingering, longing look I take at the bright sun. For death, who puts to sleep both young and old, now hails my young life, and beckons me to Acheron's dark fold, an unwed wife. No youths have sung the marriage song for me. My bridal bed no maids have strewn with flowers from the lea. 'Tis death I wed.
But bethink thee, thou art sped great and glorious to the dead.
Thou the sword's edge hast not tasted. No disease thy frame hath wasted.
Freely thou alone shalt go, living to the dead below.
Nay, but the piteous tale I've heard men tell of Tantalus' doomed child, chained upon Syphilis' high rocky fell that clung like ivy wild, drenched by pelting rain and whirling snow, left there to pine, while on her frozen breast her tears I flow. Her fate is mine.
She was sprung of gods divine. Mortals we of mortal line.
Like renown with gods to gain, recompenses all thy pain.
Take this solace to thy tomb, hers in life and death thy doom.
How mockery of my woe! Is it meet thus to insult me, living to my face? Cease! By our country's altars I entreat, ye lordly rulers of a lordly race. O fount of Dursey, wood-embowered plain, where Theban chariots to victory speed, mark ye the cruel laws which now have wrought my bane, the friends who show no pity in my need. Was there ever fate like mine, O monstrous doom, within a rock-built prison sepulchred to fade and wither in a living tomb, and unknown midst the living and the dead?
In thy boldness over rash, madly thou thy foot didst dash. Gainst high justice altar stare, thou a father's guilt dost bear.
At this thou touchest my most poignant pain. My ill-starred father's piteous disgrace, the taint of blood, the hereditary stain that clings to all of Labdacus' famed race. Woe worth the monstrous marriage bed where lay a mother with a son her own womb had born. Therein I was conceived, woe worth the day, fruit of incestuous cheats, a maid forlorn. And now I pass, accursed and unwed, to meet them as an alien there below. And thee, O brother, in marriage ill bestead, 'twas thy dead hand that dealt me this death blow.
Religion has her chains, 'tis true.
Let right be paid when rights are due.
Yet is it ill to disobey
The power who holds by might the sway.
Thou hast withstood authority, a self-willed rebel.
Thou must die.
Unwept, unwed, unfriended, hence I go. No longer may I see the day's bright eye. Not one friend left to share my bitter woe, nor my ashes heave one passing sigh.
If wail in lamentation aught avail to save off death, I troth they'd never end. Away with her at once, and closing her in the vaulted tomb as I commanded, leave her alone at liberty to die. Or if she choose to live in solitude, the tomb, her dwelling. We, in either case, are guiltless as concerns this maiden's blood. Only on earth no lodging shall she find.
O grave, O bridal bower, O prison house, hewn from the rock, now whither I am led to find my own, of whom Persephone hath a mighty number housed in death, the last of all more miserable, I pass, my destined span of years cut short. Yet lives the hope that when I go, most surely, dear will my coming be, father to thee, and to thee, mother, and to thee, brother. With these very hands I decked and bathed thee after death, and ministered the last libations. And I reap this doom for tending Polynices on thy corpse. Yet am I justified in wisdom's eyes, for neither had I children, nor had when I had married laid bleeding on the earth would I have braved the city's will, or taken this burden on me. Wherefore, I will tell. A husband lost might be replaced. A son, if some were lost, might yet be born. But with both parents hidden in the tomb, no brother may arise to comfort me. Thus, by law of conscience, I was led to honor thee, dear brother, and was judged by Creon, guilty of a heinous crime. And now, by servile hands, he hastens me away, unhusbanded, before my nuptial, having never known a married joy or tender motherhood. But desolate and friendless I go down, alive, oh horror, to the vaults of the dead. For what transgression of heaven's ordinance? Alas, how can I look to heaven? On whom call to befriend me, seeing what I have earned? Alas, my piety is impious deemed. Well, if such justice is approved of heaven, I shall be taught by suffering my sin. But if the sin is theirs, oh, may they suffer no worse ills than the wrongs they do to me.
With unchanged fury beats the storm of soul that shakes this maiden.
And for that be sure, her warders shall lament their tardiness.
Alas, I hear death's footfall in that sound.
Doom, thus to be fulfilled, no comfort give.
My fatherland, city of Thebes divine, ye gods of Thebes, whence sprang my line. Look, ye mighty lords of Thebes, on me, the last of all your royal house, ye see. Martyred by men of sin, undone. Such meed my piety hath won.
Even Danae's beauty left the lightsome day. Closed in her strong and brass-bound tower she lay, in tomb-like deep confined. Yet she was gendered, O my child,
From sires of noblest line, and treasured for the highest the golden reign. Fated misfortune hath the power so fell, not wealth,
Nor warfare wild.
Nor dark, spray-dashing coursers of the main against
great destiny may once rebel.
He too in dark's endurance was compressed, king of Adonian's dryest hasty son, and an eyeless vault of stone, immured by Dionysius' hest, all for a wrathful jest.
Fierce madness hath issueth in such fatal flower. He found 'twas madness to taunt the heavenly power, chilling the maided breast, kindled with Bacchic fire, and with annoy, angered the muse, that the flute hath joy. And near twin rocks that guard the Colchian sea, Bosporean cliffs for Salamadesus rise, where neighboring Ares in his shrine beheld
Phineus' 2 sons, by female fury quelled, with cursed looning of their sight-reft eyes,
that cried to heaven to venge the iniquity,
the shuttle's sharpness in a cruel hand,
dealt the dire blow, not struck with martial brand.
but chiefly for her piteous lot they pined, who was the source of their rejected birth. She touched the lineage of Erechtheus old, whence in far caves her life did erst unfold. Cradled mid storms, daughter of northern wind, steed swift o'er all steep places of the earth.
Yet even on her, though reared of heavenly kind, the long-enduring fates at last took hold.
I am come, my lords of Thebes, the blind to see, and give sight to him who wouldst see.
And what hath brought the old Tiresias now?
I would instruct thee, if thou wilt hear my voice.
I have not heretofore rejected thee.
Therefore thy pilotage hath saved the city.
I know it. I gladly own my debt.
Bethink thee that thou treadest once again the razor edge of peril.
What is this? Thy words inspire a dread presentiment.
The tokens of mine art shall make thee know. As I was sitting on that ancient seat of divination, where I might command sure cognizance of every bird in the air, I heard a strange clamoring of fowl that screeched in furious dissonance, hoots and screams. So knew I that each bird had the other tear with bloody talon, for the whir of wings could signify naught else. Perturbed in soul, I straight essayed to sacrifice my fire on blazing altars. But the god of fire came not in flame, and from the thigh bones dripped and sputtered in the ashes of foul ooze. Gallbladders cracked and spurted up. The fat melted and fell, and left the thigh bones bare. The frustrate sides of oracles grown dumb. O king, thy willful temper else the state, because our altars, yea, our sacred hearths, are everywhere infected from the mouths of dog or beak of vulture that hath fed on Oedipus' unhappy slaughtered son. Therefore the angry gods abominate our litanies and our burnt offerings. Therefore no bird trills out a happy note. Guard merged with the carnival of human gore. Now then, my son, take thought. A man may err, but he's not insensate or foredoomed to ruin who, when he hath lapsed evil, stands not inflexible but heals the harm. The obstinate man still ends the name of fool. Urge not contention with the dead, nor wound the fallen. What valor is to slay the slain? I've thought well of this, and say it with care, and careful counsel that brings gain withal is precious to the understanding soul.
One, ye all let fly at me your shafts like anchors at a target. Yea, ye set your soothsayer on me. Peddlers are ye all, and I the merchandise ye buy and sell. Go to, and make your profit where ye will. Silver of Sardis change for gold of Ind. Ye will not purchase this man's burial, not though the winged ministers of Zeus should bear him in their talons. Even that pollution should not daunt my heart, to yield permission for his funeral. For well know I defilement ne'er can rise from man to God. But old Tiresias here, even the wisest spirits have a shameful fall, that fairly speak base words for love of gain.
Ah, where is wisdom? Who considereth?
Wherefore, what means this universal doubt?
How far the best of riches is good counsel.
True, as unwisdom is the worst of ills.
Thou art infected with that ill thyself.
I will not bear the insults with thee, seer.
And yet thou sayest my prophecies are frauds.
Desire of money is the prophet's play.
And Ylvisaker is the curse of kings.
Knowest thou, 'tis of thy sovereign thou speakest this?
Lord of this day can save your thanks to me.
Skilled prophet art thou, but wrong inclined.
Take heed, that will provoke me to reveal the mystery deep hidden in my breast.
Say on, so thou speak for sooth and not for gain.
You think me likely to seek gain from you?
You shall not make your merchandise on me!
Not many courses of the racing sun shalt thou fulfill. Heir of thine own true blood, thou shalt have given a corpse in recompense for one on earth whom thou hast cast beneath, entombing shamefully a living soul. And for one whom thou hast kept above the ground, and disappointed of all obsequies, herein thou hast no part, nor e'en the gods in heaven, and thou usurpst a power not thine. For this the avenging spirits that dog the steps of sin are on thy trail. Would these have suffered, thou shalt suffer too. Look well to it now whether I speak for gold. A little while, and thine own palace hall shall flash the truth upon thee with loud noise of men and women shrieking o'er the dead! And all the cities whose unburied sons, mangled and torn, have found a sepulchre in dogs or jackals, or some ravenous bird that stands their incense with polluted breath, performing leagues in troublous enmity. Such shafts, since thou hast stung me to the quick, I, like an archer at thee in my wrath, have loosed unerringly, carrying their pain, inevitable, to thy very heart. Now, sirrah, lead me home, that his hot temper be spent on younger objects, till he learn to keep us safe in mind, and a calmer tongue.
My liege, that woman hath gone foretelling woe, and, oh, believe me, since these grizzled locks were like the raven, never have I known the prophet's warning to the states to fail.
I know it too, and it perplexes me. To yield is grievous, but the obstinate soul to fight with fate is smitten grievously.
The time calls loud on wisdom.
Good, my lord.
What should I do? Advise me, I will heed.
Go, free the maiden from her rocky cell, and make a grave for the unburied dead.
Is that your counsel? You would have me yield.
Yea, King, this instant! Vengeance of the gods is swift to overtake the impenitent.
What a wrench it is to sacrifice my heart's resolve. Fate is ill to fight.
Go now to do it. Trust no second hand.
Even as I am, I go. Come, come, my people, with mattocks in your hand. You are not here. Set forth immediately to yonder hill. And since I obtained this sudden turn myself, your tide the knot will hasten to unloose it. For now, the fear comes over me. This best one's life from the accustomed round.
Thou by many names adored,
Child of Zeus, the god of thunder,
of the Theban bride the wonder,
fair Italia's guardian lord,
In the deep and bosom glades of the Ylvisaker queen, haunt of revelers,
men and maids. Dionysus, thou art seen.
Where Ismene rolls his waters, where the dragon's teeth were sown.
where the Bocknels thy daughters round thee roam, there thy home,
Thebes, O Bacchus, is thine own.
Thee, on two crested rock, lurid flaming torches see, where Carisian maidens flock, thee, the springs of Cassilee.
By Nissus' bastion ivy clad, by shores with clustered vineyards glad, there to thee the hymns ring out, and through all our streets we Thebans shout, all hail to thee, Evo! Evo!
Oh, hast thou loved this city best of all? To thee and to thy mother weapon-stricken, in our dire need we call. Ceased with what a plague our townsfolk sicken.
Thy ready help we crave, whether adown Parnassian heights descending, or o'er the roaring straits thy swift was wending. Save us. Oh, save us.
brightest of all the orbs that breathe forth light, authentic son of Zeus, immortal king, leader of all the voices of the night, come and thy train of Theas with thee bring, thy maddened rout who dance before thee all night long and shout, thy handmaids we, Evo!
Evo!
Neighbors of Cadmus and Amphion's halls, no life of mortal, howsoe'er it stands, shall once have praise or censure from my mouth, since human happiness and human woe come even as fickle fortune smiles or lowers, and none can augur aught from what we see. Take Creon. He, methought, if any man was enviable, he had saved this land of Cadmus from our enemies, and attained the monarch's powers, and ruled the state supreme with noblest progeny. What hath he now? Nothing! For when a man is lost to joy, I count him not to live, but reckon him a living corpse. Riches belike are his, great riches, in the appearance of a king. But if no gladness come to him, all else is shadow of a vapor, weighed with joy.
What fresh woes bringst thou to the royal house?
Both dead, and they who live deserve to die. The slayer who, and who the slain declare, Haemon, his blood shed by no stranger hand.
What mean ye? By his father's or his own?
By his own hand, impelled with violent wrath at Creon for the murder of the maid.
Ah, sire, how surely didst thou aim thy words?
So stands the case. Now 'tis for you to act.
Ye men of Thebes, I overheard your talk as I passed by, to offer up my prayer. To palace, and drawing back the bar to open wide the door, there befell upon my ears a wail that told of household woe. Terror-stricken, I fell and fainted in my handmaid's arms. But repeat your tale. One non-acquainted misery.
Dear lady, I will tell thee what I saw, and hide no grain of truth. Why should I soothe thy spirit with soft tales, when the harsh facts must prove me a liar? Truth is always best. I duly led the footsteps of thy lord to the highest point of the plain,
where still was lying, forlorn and mangled by the dogs, the corpse of Polynices. We besought Persephone and Hades gently to restrain their wrath, and washed him pure and clean. And then we burned the poor remains with brushwood freshly pulled, and to his memory piled a lofty mound with his own earth. Then, to the caverned rock, the bridal chamber of the maiden Death, we sped, about to enter, but a guard heard from that godless shrine a far, shrill wail, and ran back to our Lord to tell the news. But as he nearer drew, a hollow sound of lamentation to the king was borne. He groaned and uttered then this bitter plaint, "Am I a prophet? Miserable me! Is this the saddest path I ever trod? 'Tis my son's voice that calls me. Go, approach with speed, and where the stones are torn away, press through the passage to that door of death. Look hard, and tell me if I hear right the voice of Haemon, or the gods deceive me." So at the bidding of our distraught lord, we looked, and in the cavern's vaulted gloom, I saw the maiden lying strangled there, a noose of linen twined about her neck. And hard beside her, clasping her cold form, her lover lay, bewailing his dead bride death wedded, and his father's cruelty. When the king saw him, with a terrible groan, he moved towards him, crying, "Oh, my son! What deed is this, unhappy youth? What thought o'ermastered thee? Where did the force of woe o'erturn thy reason? Oh, come forth, my son, I beg thee!" But with savage eyes the youth glared, scowling at him, and without a word, plucked forth his two-edged blade. The father then fled and escaped. But the unhappy boy, wroth with himself, even where he stood, leaned heavily upon his sword and plunged it in his side. And while the sense remained, his slackening arm enfolded still the maiden, and his breath, gaspingly drawn and panted forth with pain, cast ruddy drops upon her pallid face. Then lay in death upon the dead, at last joined to his bride in Hades' dismal hall, a monument unto mankind, that rashness is the worst evil of this mortal state.
What makest thou of this? The queen has gone, without word spoken either good or ill.
I marvel too, but entertain good hope. 'Tis that she shrinks in public to lament her son's sad ending, and in privacy would with her maidens mourn a private loss. Trust me, she is discreet and will not err.
I know not, but strained silence, so I deem, is no less ominous than excessive grief.
Well, let us to the house and solve our doubts. Whether the tumult of her heart conceals some fell design, and maybe thou art right. Unnatural silence signifies no good.
Lo! The king himself appears! Evidence he with him bears. Gainst himself! Ah, me, I quake! Gainst the king such charge to make! But all must own, the guilt is his, and his alone.
O heir of my insensate soul, stubborn and deadly in the faithful land, will ye, who now behold, slayer and slain of the same kindred blood, the bitter consequence of seeming wise decree. Alas, my son! Strange in the world wert thou, and strange the fate that took thee off that slew thee! Woe is me! Not for thy rashness, but my folly! Ah, me!
Too late, thou seemest to perceive the truth.
Alas, I have learnt it now. But then upon my head some god is smitten with dire rate of doom, and plunged me in a furious course. Woe for the bitterness of mortal pain.
My lord and master, thou art master here of naught but sorrows. one within thine arms so bears with thee, and in thy palace hall thou hast possession of another grief, which soon thou shalt behold.
What's more of woe? What more woeful sounds anew from thee?
The honored mother of that corpse, thy queen, is dead, and bleeding with a new given wound.
Oh, horrible. Charnel gulf. Death on death, not to be done away. Why harrowest thou my soul? Ill boding harbinger of woe, what word have thy lips uttered? Oh, thou hast killed me again. Before and done. Since thou slaughtered Creon in yonder hall, lay in her blood crowning the pile of ruin.
No longer hidden in the house. Behold!
Again, I hear anew a second woe. What more calamitous stroke of destiny awaits me still? And now, my arms enfold my child. And lo, yon corpse before my face. Unhappy mother, most unhappy son.
Beside the altar, on a keen-edged sword, she found, and closed her eyes at night. But erst she mourned for Megarius, who nobly died, and then of Haemon, lastly, clamored forth the curse of murdered offspring upon thee.
I'm wrapped with terror. Is there none to strike me with doubly sharpened blade, a mortal blow? Oh, I am plunged into fathomless distress.
'Tis true that thou art charged for the dead queen as author of both deaths, hers and her son's.
Tell us, how ended she her life in blood?
With her own hand struck herself to the heart when she had heard her son's lamented fate.
Oh me! This crime can come on no man else excepting me! I slew thee! Oh misery. I say the truth. It was I! My followers! Take me with speed! Take me away! Away! Me! With nothing now!
Thou say right if right can be in such woe. Brief life is best in a world of sorrow.
Let it come. The day most unwelcome of all days. The consummation of my doom! Come. I would not see another son.
Time will determine that.
We must attend to present needs.
Fate works her own dread work.
I join your prayers that echo my desire.
Idle are your prayers.
For to mortal men, from the doom of fate, refuge
Is there none?
Take me away! The vain, proud man slew thee, my son! Unwittingly, and thee! Which way shall I turn? Which look upon? Since all I can touch is falling round or ahead me. The tolerable destiny descends.
Wise conduct hath command above happiness over all else, and piety to heaven must be preserved. High boastings of the proud bring sorrow to the height to punish pride. A lesson men shall learn when they are old.